Okay, so this is another great question, and I will answer it here on a video reply because it is something that I would probably struggle just to answer in few sentences in a comment section. So, the first part, do I not believe any of it now? So, I assume you're talking about Jehovah's Witness beliefs. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But when it comes to Jehovah's Witness beliefs, then that is correct. I don't believe any of it, and I don't actually believe in the Bible. I don't believe the Christianity or any of the Abrahamic religions, because obviously they all have kind of the same baseline. So we're talking about the God that, whether you call it Jehovah, Yahweh, or anything else. So upon deeper research that I have done over the years since leaving in 2018, it became apparent that Yahweh or Jehovah originally was actually a god from another culture. I can't quote exactly which one because I can't remember, but he was a god of war in a pantheon. And then the name Yahweh and then the god El, they kind of got put together to create this monotheistic religion that included the attributes of God El and the Yahweh, who was the god of war in this culture, which got plagiarized by I believe it was the early Israelites. So that alone, to me, just personally to me, that screams like another book of myths and legends. So I can't take Bible seriously. I really can't. Also, there is more evidence that Jesus never existed, that he, again, is a composite of various characters in that era. So, again, that's why I can't take it seriously. And I certainly wouldn't base my life on a book that cannot be verified, or the events in it and the people cannot be verified, and the actual god that they worship is a composite of an earlier civilization that the Israelites kind of plagiarized. So that is my answer about anything to do with Bible, Christianity, whether that's Jehovah's Witnesses or anything Abrahamic. I don't believe it because to me it's simply not true. It's in the same league as, I used to love reading Greek mythology, and it's, to me, it's just fairy tales. So that's the first answer, whether I believe any of it now, which I don't. Yeah, it's just, it's all, again, if somebody wants to believe it, like, that's entirely up to you. You're all adults, you can make your own choices. But for me personally, I don't. So the second part is, I guess, it's what do I believe now? Am I just like agnostic or an atheist? I don't believe in anything and I've got no hope. Now, I want to preface this to say that when I left Jehovah's Witnesses 2018, I did go through a existential crisis for a bit, because it was like, I don't believe what this organisation told me, not anymore. But obviously, it takes time to kind of flush it out of your system and to actually think, right, well, what do I believe? Is there anything I believe in? So yeah, there was a period of existential crisis about, well, what does happen? What will happen? So from that point on, I would say that I was simply open to learning other things, like looking what do other like belief systems are they? What does the science say? You know, and just simply being open to learning. And one of the things that I came across, which I'm happy to share here, is something that is really like fundamental for me, regardless of anything. And that is in the quantum physics that everything is energy. And that alone is what really my core belief is, that everything is energy. Energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be transferred. So to me, like obviously, I do not subscribe to the idea of actual physical resurrection as Jehovah's Witnesses teach it. I don't know about heaven or anything else, because there is no like actual proof or evidence. Nobody's come back to tell you what's what. I know there's like near death experiences, but technically those people are still alive, and we don't know how much the actual brain has got to do with what people in near death experiences see or experience. I'm not claiming anything for or against. I don't know until I experience it myself. I just don't know. But the only thing I do know is that it's been proven is that everything is energy. So that is why I am more inclined to subscribe to the idea of reincarnation, because the energy that is me, the consciousness, my body, the energy, that's fueling my cells, atoms, it's always been there. It's always been here, but it's been something else, maybe someone else. I don't know. But the energy that is me and my consciousness did not come from nothing. It didn't come from nothing, and it's not going to go to nothing. That energy is still going to be here in this universe. So to me, it is more reasonable to think that my energy may have been a composite of another person at one point, something or someone else at one point, and energy, because memories, created memories in those experiences, again, it's all energy. It's not going to disappear anywhere. So that's why it makes more sense to me that even when this physical body dies, the energy that made this body and the consciousness is simply being transferred something to somewhere else. Now, people can call it soul, they can call it spirit, and yeah, I won't know until I'm dead. As simple as that. However, I'm not afraid of it, because I know that the power, the powerhouse that is me, well, it will just be something else. So literally, you just carry on being, existing. So again, I'm more inclined to believe in reincarnation, because it, from scientific point of view, it actually makes more sense, because energy is everything. It cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred. Now, obviously, that's something that's individually everyone's own opinion, belief, but just to say that no, I'm not scared to death about anything, because whatever happens, my energy, my consciousness, because it takes energy to have consciousness, it'll just be something or someone else. And it's a cycle, that our energy gets recycled, basically. So I don't know if that helps you, if that answers your question. Please feel free to elaborate more. But I wanted to share it to explain why I don't believe in the Bible anymore, and why I do subscribe to the idea of resurrection not being real, but also I'm more inclined to subscribe to reincarnation. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.